Next we've got Boomerang Er, which I think is a beetle. This level is primarily a vertical level, which always throws a curveball for you in Megaman game. You spend most of your time navigating wall jumps and trying not to groan when you get knocked off a platform for the 10th time. The song definitely captures that bass infiltration vibe that you get in this Beetleman's tower. The first section of the bass line steadily creeps up on you. Like it's, you know what you must do. In the middle section, it rises a bit and then falls as it becomes more challenging. And then the last section has an even harder time rising and feels tired and more desperate than before it circles around to the determined section again. This is probably one of my favorite tracks on the Mega Man X soundtrack. Just the mood and vibe of it, it's a little different from some of the other tracks on the album. It has a very different mood, but it suits the level perfectly. I give this one a 5 out of 5. Next is Sting Chameleon. This one is one of the more forgettable songs on the soundtrack for me. It's not bad, it's just the melody doesn't do much for me, and it kind of just reminds me of a watered down version of Launch Octopus stage. Get it? Because watered down, because if you beat Launch Octopus first, the jungle will be full of water. Yeah. Anyway, it also misses the opportunity to have a jungle stage with literally no musical references to its jungliness. Mega Man X has a great jungle stage theme, and I feel like the song fit the stage very appropriately. This one just feels a little too generic for me. I give this one somewhere between a 3 and a 4 out of 5. Then you have Spark Mandrill. Oh, this power plant level. Everything about this just screams electricity. The crackling, sporadic drum fills tying over the loop. The galloping rhythm of the generators and turbines. The high-pitched synth emulating a power overload surging in the background at 30-second mark. And the melody is just soaring and flashing higher and higher. I just love this one. This is probably one of my favorites for sure. Definite 5 out of 5. Storm Eagle, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. It feels a little generic to me. It's kind of your straightforward rock song. I think I like it maybe as much as the Mammoth level. It kind of just has this vague sense of rising on the airship, which is fine, but it's okay. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Then you've got Armored Armadillo. Hoof, this song's got a lot going on in it as far as the accompaniment goes. Someone online compared it to That Smell by Leonard Skinner, and I went and took a look, and it kind of has a similar maybe chord progression going on in the background, but other than that, I'm not really quite seeing the comparison. But I really love this song, and it got stuck in my head for several days. Actually, it was kind of driving me nuts because I was trying to sleep, and it just kept going on in my head. But it's got this really great trumpet kind of sound in the beginning. I mean, I'm not quite sure if it's actual trumpet sound they're using, but it sounds like trumpets. And it's just full of energy. Almost sounds like some weird upbeat jazz song or like jazz rock kind of fusion. But it's just got this really driving, rolling groove to it, which fits perfectly with the mining gear that rolls around and the armadillo rolling around. There's spiked wheels rolling around. Everything's just kind of rolling, and I feel like that it just fits really well. Then you've got the Sigma Stage 1. This one is just perfect. The sun is setting, you're approaching the last trials of your journey, you're exhausted and you want to eat, but there's nothing but eyeball-shaped canisters that taste like battery juice and V8 Splash. A small army of fat mechanical turtles sit between you and your goal. After a vast chasm of hovering platforms that someone forgot to arrange more conveniently, patrolled by God knows the most annoying purple drone bots to ever float on the planet, trying to stab you with their spiky chins. It's humiliating when they laugh at you. But it's so perfect. The song, it just fits this energy of weakness and frustration and exhaustion, and yet there's a determined feel to it. It's what you must do. It's Sam carrying Frodo up Mount Doom. The game is really good at setting you up so that whenever you accomplish anything, it feels really rewarding. What's really funny though is I didn't actually know that you could whip out your pink suit and surround yourself with a handy force field and pretty much just fry the purple guys that knock you off the platforms. I didn't know that as a kid, and it makes it much easier. Next you've got the Sigma Stage 2. Not a whole lot to say about that one. Just has that kind of generic feeling of needing to go forward and needing to accomplish your task. And then Sigma Stage 3 is the oddball one. It's kind of got a Peter Gunn theme going on and these weird synth jobs that kind of jump in, like in what's the song, Funky Town, or maybe kind of like the sounds in the beginning of Fashion by David Bowie. It's kind of unsettling, but I kind of like it too. Probably give it like a 4 out of 5. Then you've got the boss themes. So the main boss theme that plays when you fight the Mavericks, I'm not that into. It's got a different feeling than the rest of the tracks, mainly because it kind of replaces the normal electric guitar sound with a sort of almost like a piano sound, kind of just trailing down. It's got a sense of almost playfulness, which I don't mind if the whole game feels that way, but when you're facing the bosses in a game that otherwise feels somewhat more on the cool or serious side, it kind of throws you off a little bit. That being said, I grew up with the game and it was one of my favorites, so I'm really used to the song. It's definitely nostalgic and I enjoy it on that level, but viewing it on a sort of a fresh pair of eyes, it seems a little odd. So yeah, I'd probably give it somewhere around a 3 or 4 out of 5. Then you've got Sigma's themes. The first fight is just this like unbelievably fast guitar, like and it loops very quickly. It's very fast and unsettling, and I remember the first time I played it, that music just felt so overwhelming. I just died immediately. Like I couldn't even face Sigma. Eventually I got the patterns down and past him and the dog, but that also leads you to the third stage, or I guess the second phase of fighting Sigma, where he's this kind of weird, ominous purple dog robot with these paws kind of floating around, shooting lightning at you, and the head of this dog dragon thing is shooting fire and ice and different things at you. The song is very slow, and it just kind of feels like this cycle of helplessness, which is how I felt when I was however old, like maybe 10 or something, when I played it, because it was just so hard. Mega Man X games can be so hard and ridiculous. You just want to cry. But yeah, this game, that final level, it's not my favorite theme, but I definitely feel like it suits the last boss well, because it's not a fast battle. Nothing's really moving a whole lot. You just feel like you're waiting to die, and that's a perfect feeling for that level. Last, we've got the ending theme, which there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just kind of your normal sense of rest type of theme. But then you got the Castrol, which to me just totally sounds like the Xanadu theme. Not the Rush song. Not that one, the other one. I'm not crazy, right? Like that sounds pretty much just like the same. I mean, it's only like 2 or 3 notes, but anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny. It's a fun little Castrol theme. It's not that exciting. I'd give it like a 4 out of 5. So anyway, all in all, I would say that this is a great soundtrack, and if you haven't had a chance to just listen to it in itself, like with good headphones or good speakers, without playing the game and all the sound effects and stuff, I would definitely give it a chance. There's also other great versions that I would highly recommend. There's the Sega Genesis version that I mentioned. You can find that, I believe, on YouTube. There's also Acapella covers, and there's also a jazz cover album version of it. There's Game Boy versions of it because they released Megaman Extreme 1 and 2, which have these same themes, but they're, you know, definitely more like chiptune style. And then you also have there's also the Mega Man X Maverick Hunter version, which I haven't listened to yet, but you can try that. As for the Super Nintendo version, I think I would give it a 4.4 out of 5. It's a great soundtrack. It's really enjoyable. Even the weaker tracks can get stuck in your head, and it fits the game perfectly. There's definitely a cohesion between all the tracks, and I would definitely recommend it. Well, that's it for today's episode of Old School Loops. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and until next time, ciao for now.